chili sauce.
Taman Rimba Kiara, the only park in KL with frickin' hornbills. And the biggest firefly larva in the world. A nature lover's paradise in the middle of the city. Until now. In June 2016, TTDI residents started seeing signs thrown up, signaling that DBKL had plans to turn this park into a luxury condo complex. The proposal was to divide the park into two halves, turning one half into an 8-block luxury apartment complex. Oh, and one Kichimayam unit for longhouse families. These longhouse families have been here since the families worked when the whole of Bukit Kiara was a rubber plantation way back in the 1970s. And they've been waiting decades for the government to deliver on their promise of affordable housing. What about the local residents? The last thing they want in TTDI was another luxury condo, destroying more greenery and bringing more traffic to the area. So they started to organize a protest. Okay, chup! We sure you heard stories before about how a new Lux condo is proposed, residents complain, and a few years later the condo still comes up. But this case was a little bit different. Cause this is TTDI! Like many neighborhoods, TTDI had a pretty decent residents association, so things got off to a good start. 200 people attended their first town hall meeting about the development. But then, they organized a few protest events, including a picnic, and the response was massive. Soon, DBKL invited the TTDI RA to a hearing, but failing to come to an agreement, a court date was set. Ding 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 ding! The Residents Association soon realized that this was a fight they could not handle alone. So they started a Save Taman Rimba Kiara subcommittee. This group was headed up by Leon Quay, a former lawyer turned finance guy. With limited resources, they first decided to approach a few of the more affluent residents to build a base fund. Using those funds, next they approached the managements of Kiara Green townhouses and Trellis condos, because Leon realized that their proximity would mean that they had the best chance of objecting to the development. This is called legal standing, meaning these fellas got damn good reason to protest lah. Once he had their buy-in, things really started to get serious. WhatsApp groups and mamak meetings were starting to sprout up, and the uniqueness of TTDI's residents was starting to emerge. People like sustainable development engineers, lawyers, plus town planners and architects. Oh, and one of the committee members was also the head of the 4As, which governs the Malaysian advertising industry, so they managed to get a ton of publicity, including chili sauce, of course. Anyway, take a look at the contents of the email they sent us. Oh my god! Legal documents, letter to the mayor of KL, fact sheets, a timeline of events, and even a freaking mock-up of alternative housing for the longhouse residents, which cost a lot less, took up less space, and looked pretty darn comfy too. With mounting pressure on all sides, Federal Territories Minister Tengku Adnan organized a bicara between regular folk and a politician, a first-of-its-kind event at TTDI's community hall.
Looks like a good turnout from the residents, and hopefully they will show some empathy and try to understand our perspective on the issues.
For their sake, for the people who's living there for the last 30 years, you live in a nice place. Yeah, you're enjoying yourself, people living there, you have to change. Here had problem, India had problem, everywhere had problem. These are all the legacy problems we need to solve. Our street is open anytime. You can walk with the police. You can walk with the market. You see that when it starts and see what
Ayo, why the booze? Well, that might be because Kunan has a wee bit of a conflict of interest when it comes to this development. So the land used to be owned by the federal government, but in 2014, a slice of the land transferred ownership to Yayasan Wilayah Persekutuan, an organization that's supposed to help the poor but seems to be helping rich developers instead to acquire land and build condos? And on Yayasan's board, Tengku Adnan and the mayor of KL. Ayo, no wonder lah. Anyway, this case is important as it could show other neighborhoods how they can protest developments in their areas as well and set legal precedents that might make their protests actually succeed. Like Taman Desa, which could be the next Taman Rimba. So, do you think your residents association can do the same? Let us know in the comments, and as always, keep it here on Chili Sauce for more current issues, Tama Pedas, and sometimes heavy metal music. Yeah!